Hello and welcome back to another episode of Talking Faith, the weekly devotional where I spend a little bit of time reflecting over what I've been going through during my own personal devotions so that we can, as a community, continue to grow in our relationship with God. As you know, over the last couple of weeks, we have been continuing to look through a book called In His Image by Jen Wecklin, and this week she has been calling us to reflect on the concept of God being merciful. So as we're about to do that, I urge you to get yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee as we continue talking faith together. The Lord is good to all, and His mercy is over all that He has made. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. So I'm going to think a little bit about God being a merciful God today, and there's a little bit of a complication to do with that, to be honest, because when we think of mercy, we also think of grace, another characteristic that Jen calls us to reflect on later. And the issue there is mercy and grace, well, they're very similar. They're almost like two siblings that look very similar and act very similar. However, once you get to know them very personally, you actually start to get a little bit more detail that shows a little bit more personality of who they really are. They're similar, but they're not exactly the same as what I'm trying to get at. So we're going to be looking at mercy this week, and in a later week we should be looking at the concept of God being a graceful God. If I could quickly sum it up, I would probably say mercy is not receiving something bad that you should receive, and grace is receiving something good that you shouldn't have received. So that's kind of a way of differentiating the two of them. But we're going to be thinking a little bit about mercy, the mercy that comes from God. And to do so, I started thinking through my past and events that I could maybe link that kind of join up. And I found one that I think kind of works to some degree, where I received mercy from someone in my old church. Every year, we run a thing called Wintertainment down in Troon. And during Wintertainment, lots of people come flooding to Troon, and we spend some time just celebrating Christmas that's to come. Strange that it's in November, but that's beside the point. We light up the lights, and every big establishment has something fun to go on for families to come in to get involved. And our church was no different. We opened up the church building, we had hymns being sung, we had arts and crafts, we had puppets, we had teas, coffees, biscuits for all people that would want to come in and just relax a little bit after a bit of a busy day. And when we were setting up for this event, I was getting a little bit tired. I wanted a little bit of an energy boost. And as I was walking through from the front to the back of our church, I saw the grand supply of biscuits we had for the day ahead. And I just decided I'm going to take one. I know that it wasn't mine, but I decided I was going to take it. I went, stretched out my hand, grabbed it, and as I started to walk away, an elder from the church literally walked into the hallway I was in. It was somewhat embarrassing. He saw me take the biscuit and grab it in hand and start walking away with it. And all he said was, "Jonathan, put it back." Quick, stern voice. I heard it, put it back, and then I had my head down and I rushed through to the back and just ignored him. He never pulled me up. He never went and spoke to my parents and told them to get me into trouble. No, that small, "don't do that," was enough. And at that moment, he showed some mercy to me. He could have given me into trouble, maybe made me even more embarrassed than I was. He could have told my parents to get me into trouble later, but he chose not to. He knew that that slight warning was all that was needed. And the next year, when I was preparing, I did not dare to steal a biscuit, nor ever have I done something similar to that again. That small warning, in light of the mercy I received from him, made me realize, actually, I don't want to be the type of person that would do that wrong thing. I want to change. So I never attempted to steal again. That was probably my one and only time I've stolen in my life, to be honest. I'm not one for doing it, but a slight warning changed my actions. And now that I sort of think back, he was one of the sort of people that did pull me along in my faith as I was growing up. And that small moment was not a massively crucial moment, but still an important moment in my walk with God. We are called to be people, in light of the mercy we receive, to change because we've received that mercy. I received that and I changed. I no longer wanted to steal. However, we are called, in light of the even greater thing that God has done for us, Jesus dying on that cross, we are called to change, to go away from our old ways. And I think we can seek to do that But in our own walk with God, I think there's two potential paths we can walk down. One helpful, one not so helpful. And it's actually, there's more light shed on it when Jesus was speaking a parable. He spoke of two men that were in the temple to worship. And I think we can learn how we approach the mercy we've received through these two men. The first of which is someone who is respected in his church. And as he's standing there, he is praying and he is saying, Lord, I thank you that I'm good. I thank you that I'm capable. I thank you that I am not like that tax collector over there, the other person in the story. And then it jumps to the tax collector at the back of the church. He's just standing there, beating his hand onto his chest, just saying, forgive me, Lord. Have mercy on me, a sinner. And that is a miraculous moment. You see two completely different personalities going towards God in light of his mercy, one of which with arrogance and one of which humbly. And Jesus says the one that walks away justified before God is the tax collector, the humble person. We are called with humbleness to receive the mercy that God has given us so that we can see that our goodness does not come from us, but from him. Because of his mercy, we can go out and be like Christ. It all starts with realizing it's all about God. So in our lives, after we've received that mercy, we're called to go to be Christ-like, and that gives us the passion to do it. In light of what he's done, I need to seek to be more like him. And with the Spirit's help, we are able to do that very thing. So I urge you in the week ahead, how can you be merciful in your day-to-day life to other people? Because just as you have fallen short of the glory of God, so too have they. How can you be merciful to them and shine the light of Jesus to them? And within your own personal walk, how might you, in light of God's mercy, seek to walk like Christ day in and day out? Hopefully that has been a challenge and a blessing to you as you're watching. God bless.